There are various prophecies going around right now about the Super Bowl that is happening very soon. And the prophecy is basically that crypto is going to accelerate. So what we are going to do in this video, we are going to have a look at these prophecies, which tokens, and we are going to have a look at the charts. Are there any charts lining up right now for big takeoffs? So guys, let's just start with the prophecy from Brandon Biggs talking about the Super Bowl 2025.
And the Lord told me even this. He said, you will, when you get to the Super Bowl of America, when you get to the Super Bowl, there'll be even more of an acceleration of things. That will be 3 weeks of President Trump already being sworn into office when we get to Super Bowl. He's talking about a great acceleration of finances, great acceleration of things by Super Bowl of 2025.
But Brandon is not the only one. There are other people prophesying about this event too, and some even mention very specific tokens. Let's have a look.
I saw this on October 24th, and it applies to this football season that we're in. I saw a football, and this is a vision I saw from the Lord, and then I saw a football stadium and a football field in the background. And I heard the Lord say this. He said, this is going to be a football season unlike any other. And then I heard the Lord speaking to me in a voice that sounded like an announcer's voice. So I started to hear these phrases. He tackled him to the ground, and they are scuffling. And then I heard the phrase, I cannot believe my eyes.
And I wanted to update you on the more recent words that the Lord had shared with me concerning stellar lumens. So on the morning of 2/9/2024, the Lord gave me a word upon my rising. And the word was, watch it rise. Watch it rise. So I felt in my spirit that the Lord was talking about stellar lumens. Then I heard, on Super Bowl, the rise shall be stellar. On Super Bowl, the rise shall be stellar.
So guys, you heard the lady. XLM will pump at Super Bowl. I think we got to make a distinction between the last prophecy of issue with the other prophecies, because Brandon Biggs, who's saying that things will accelerate it around Super Bowl, which is actually pretty close, guys. That's coming to on the 9th of February. That's only a couple of days left. But it's only the last lady who's talking about XLM. The reason that I still put it in the video is because there is something very interesting going on with XLM that I wanted to share with you in today's video. So guys, let's have a look at XLM on the charts. We can see we had this long consolidation. We broke that resistance. We had a massive pump, and right now we are somewhat in a flag formation. We used to draw this different because you can also make we first thought it might be a triangle formation, something like this. Then we actually broke to the downside, but looking where we got supported, it actually looks like this could be somewhat of a flag formation right here. With this big liquidation event happening to the downside, a huge wick. So a lot of liquidity has been grabbed at these levels. It really makes sense for the price, at least in the shorter term time frame, to come to the resistance with a possibility of breaking out. But that's not the real reason why I brought up XLM, because I think XLM against Bitcoin is one of the most interesting charts right now. And that is this chart, guys. And this is the reason why this is interesting is because we had this very long consolidation since 2018 against Bitcoin, right? It's a falling wedge formation. At the end of the wedge, we got a nice pump out of the wedge, so we broke the resistance, and that resistance has been created in 2018. So that is a resistance of over 6 years. We broke that resistance, and right now we are coming back to test that former resistance as support. So it would make really sense if Stellar Lumens XLM remains bullish right here. It would make really sense to get a bounce against the value of Bitcoin, which I would say logically would equal an increase in US dollar terms too. But in US dollar terms, we just seen uptrend, flag formation, and maybe a continuation of that uptrend. But in the Bitcoin price, we actually see that, whoa, this broke market structure. Right now, we are at a critical point. Maybe if you look at Elliott wave theory, you could even say this is an ABC correction, right? So it is actually looking pretty good for Stellar in the next days, maybe in the next weeks. Timing is a little bit difficult to say. We are also looking at this chart on the weekly time frame, right? If we go to the daily time frame, maybe it will be you can already see that we are being a little bit supported. So this maybe is the completion of that ABC correction. So definitely interesting what she's saying about XLM, because the charts are lining up. Then guys, I want to go with you to the next chart, which is the stablecoin dominance. And this was the exact chart how we actually could anticipate this big drop in crypto. And I got a comment today talking about that, but this chart looks like it's going higher, which is bearish. And partly that is actually true. I really want to point that out, guys. If we go to this chart on a weekly time frame, and we just look at this formation. This is a falling wedge formation with bullish divergences at the end of the wedge. Generally speaking, guys, if this would be a crypto chart, I would be positive. I would be like, wow, like Litecoin looks a little bit like this, right? And I'm positive about that. So that's a bit like, yeah, because we already touched the resistance, we didn't broke out. So that's the main question, of course, right now. Like, will this be something like we have seen right here, where we go to the resistance, then we go back to the support, something like this. We go to the resistance and then we go back to the support, maybe even break the support to the downside, get a wild card, do something like this, or maybe something like this. And then this is where the bull market will top. That would be a very good case scenario, let's call it like that. But if we go to the daily time frame, we can already see that we had quite some resistance coming in at that level. So we got rejected at that level. This is, by the way, guys, the exact level that all the cryptos like bottomed simultaneously. So yeah, if this is rolling over right here, that would be, of course, extremely bullish. And then when we are at support again, if we are going to get at support, that is a moment that you want to you want to be a little bit careful, because we could be bouncing from this level. If we're breaking down from this support, we'll be very bullish. But another thing that actually got shared on the community, on the Discord community, feel free to join. There's a link down below in the description, is this news. This is from Coinbase, and they are having a very weird announcement for all the users on their platform. Action required, adjust your open orders. So they say, as part of an ongoing efforts to maintain order book health and an efficient platform, we regularly review and manage orders on Coinbase Advanced. On 11th of February 2025, okay, that's a couple of days after the Super Bowl, all open limit orders and stop limit orders that are 75% or below the best bid for buy orders and 900% or above the best ask for sell orders will be cancelled. Once the orders are cancelled, your account balance will be automatically blah 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 blah. The crazy thing is, like, someone shared this over on the community, and I was like, how is that even possible? I've been personally a member of many, or like a user for many different exchanges, and I never heard something like this. That because if you are using an exchange, you want to set some buy orders that are just in the order book. So when the price wicks down, your orders get filled, or you set some sell orders. This is what I'm doing often, because sometimes when you sleep, the price is going to hit certain levels and you want to execute on certain levels. You want to sell or buy. But right now Coinbase is just saying, and this is the crazy thing, because Coinbase also one of the so-called best exchanges, right? They are going to close all these orders in the order book for maintenance purposes. The first time I heard it, it feels for me that this is more like they're expecting some crazy volatility and they don't want you to take advantage of that. This is pretty... I've never heard this before, but if there's another reason, guys, you can let me know in the comment section down below. I'm personally using free exchanges, Bybit, Phoenix, and Bitunix. Bybit and Phoenix are very good exchanges, and the thing is, with those two, you need KYC verification, so you need your passport linked to your account. On Bitunix, you don't need that. You don't need any KYC, and you don't need any VPN. It's also not good to have all your funds in one single exchange. It's good to spread them over multiple exchanges. That's what I personally do. And sometimes it changes. Sometimes I'm using different exchanges, but right now I'm mainly using Bybit, Phoenix, and Bitunix. If you want to use these exchanges, I have some affiliate links down below in the description. But this is just a very weird message from Coinbase, and but do mind that they are talking about the orders below, like 75% below the best bid, but also 900% above. So it's also not clear whether they expect volatility to the downside, or to the upside, or maybe even both. Then guys, we go to the Bitcoin dominance, and right now we look at the Bitcoin dominance on a weekly time frame, and what we can see is that we have a big wick, and we have roughly 4.5 days to close this candle. And I would say if we are going to close with a big wick on top, then that could also be a nice signal for a start of our altcoin season, because when we look at previous times, we have a big wick to the upside. Generally, the Bitcoin dominance comes down, and this is how it normally can work in the markets. When there is a extreme event, like the capitulation event that we saw a couple of days ago, right? When that extreme event happens, and we also have a crazy spike in this chart, for example, that often can resemble or can represent the climax of a certain period. We reach the climax, and then we enter a new period. So that's what I mean right here. So we go up, and then bam, we have a massive spike tag over this resistance level, and that marks the end, right? Similar as here. We go down, we go down, we go down, bam, big spike down. That marks eventually the end. And here we also had that big spike down below support. Everyone panics, but then get quickly bought up, and it marks the end of money going to altcoins and just money being concentrated in Bitcoin again. Let's go to Bitcoin, guys. I want to show you one more thing that's a little bit based on timing. So we have a lot of things going at the same time, right? We have the Super Bowl coming up in a couple of days. Coinbase making these weird announcements, probably expecting a lot of volatility. But what's happening with Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is actually, for me personally, it's not looking that bad right now, because we are still in this sideways structure. We had a massive capitulation event, right? Massive, like the most liquidations ever happened on this day for crypto. That's pretty crazy. So that means that the base that we are building right now, right here, I believe can be pretty strong for a nice try to make a nice rally. The only thing that bothers me a little bit is if we look at the 60-day cycle, then the next 60-day cycle low will be around the end of February. So the question will be, how is that going to be manifested, right? Are we going to do something like this where we go a bit up, and then in the end of February we are going to dip down, and then we can go higher? Or are we going to go up and then end of February down, make the 60-day cycle low higher? That looks a little bit less likely for me, but we have the stories for the Super Bowl, so that it is still possible. But that's my concern a little bit, because generally speaking, for the ones that don't know about this, 60-day cycle lows occurs every 60 days in Bitcoin, and then there's a kind of a low. So if we have this formation, we have, for example, a low, 60 days later another low, 60 days later another low, 60 days later another low. And then the first part of that new 60-day cycle, as you can see, even in consolidation modes, is very strong. Here we can also see 60-day cycle low. The first part of that new 60-day cycle is very explosive. So this is a beautiful example, actually, because it looks pretty similar to the thing that we are right now, to the structure we have right now. This can be like maybe like an A, B, C correction into that 60-day cycle low. Then we start that new cycle, and this went from 40k all the way up to 72k. That almost doubled in that next 60-day cycle low. So if we finish this consolidation, A, B, C, do something like this. So maybe we have like A, B, C. Maybe it still goes a little bit lower. Maybe this was the A, B, C. Very unique cases that 60-day cycle low comes earlier. That is, but right now we are just quite a couple of days off from it, because this should occur around the end of February. So that's something that I'm thinking about. So I think February, if I want to make a safe bet, I would say February still be a little bit boring, depending on Super Bowl, of course, because we heard a lot of words around Super Bowl. But February in generally will be a little bit boring until the end, and then from the end of February, beginning of March, I think there will be more. We will have more the wind in our backs, like this also, like nice 60-day cycle. Oh, bam, we can have some strength. So how this is going to manifest, I don't know, but we definitely finished some things. We had a big capitulation event, getting close to a 60-day cycle low. We are still in this sideways range. Couple of concerns is, for example, the stablecoin dominance that is looking bullish, but we haven't seen a breakout yet. So this can just like eventually turn around. And with the Bitcoin dominance, it's not that clear that we are going to see a reversal, but we have seen a climax point where this potentially can happen. Definitely, it will be time sooner or later for Bitcoin dominance to come down and for money to flow to altcoins. A couple of other things, guys. March, there will be a new statement made by Jerome Powell about interest rates. And March, also very interesting, guys, will be news for Litecoin, whether Litecoin ETF will be approved or not. That will be the next announcement will be in March. It is also possible that it will be delayed again, that they will just give some notes on the ETF application. But yeah, for me, this structure still looks good. I'm still positioned in this, and I'm believing that this eventually will break out to the upside. Also, massive ABC correction, big wake. Little bit insecure about February, but at the end of February, March, I think the green lights are back, and we can see more bullish price action, more wind in the back. But yeah, maybe we are already going to see some stuff happening at Super Bowl, right? So this is going to be very interesting, guys, and I'm very interesting as well what you think is going to happen, but especially what you think about Coinbase with this very strange message. Should you even use Coinbase? I don't know. I personally don't use Coinbase. I thought it was the best exchange in the United States, but this is just very weird notifications or weird news, weird announcements from them that I personally do not really trust. And thank you for the community for sharing this, because this is the exact reason why we have the community, to be up to date for all of these things. And the prophecies shared in today's video, some of these prophecies were also, or all of them were also shared on the community. So we all are standing very close to all of this information, which is very nice, guys. But yeah, let me know what you think. This is my opinion on Bitcoin and altcoins for this month and for the coming weeks, and what's going to happen in March. Also, do take in mind that April, May often is one of the best seasons for altcoin seasons. So we can already see a good cocktail coming on right here, end of February, end of the start of a new 60-day cycle. March, some announcements coming. April and May, most bullish month for altcoins. Maybe the summer will be a little bit quiet again. But this is how I look at the situation right now. Guys, I want to thank you all for watching. Drop a thumbs up if you like this video. Wish every single one of you a beautiful day today, and I hope to see every single one of you in the next one. Bye bye.